on, and we are now on our edit project workflow. So I'm going to pull that over to in progress, and I'm going to open it up. All right, so here we want to be able to edit a project, edit a feature, edit a user story, and edit a task. I'm actually going to start with editing a task, and that's just because I just worked on the task statuses, so I'd like to kind of see that through. So I'm going to start with the yep, so I'm going to start with my update task route. Okay, and all right, I'm trying to figure out if I want to do this all in like one function, because it looks like I have task name. Okay, I think we can do that. All right, so if we look at tasks here, okay, we have our task buttons, and here we have a button that says done. So what I want it to do is when I toggle, I want it to toggle between to do, in progress, and done here, okay? So I need to go first to the correct location and find where I have that. So I have that under the create, nope, I don't have it under the create tasks. I have it under user details, user story details accordion. Okay. So here is this button, okay? So I want to add an on click function, and I'm going to call it toggle task status. All right. Then I'm going to go and make the function here, and I'm going to say const toggle task status, and I don't know why I made it that capital to start out with, toggle task status, and I'm going to console log hi int. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. I'm going to open up my console, and I am going to click on this button, and you can see every time I click it says hi. So now my function is connected. Okay, so I'm also going to make a status, a state here. So I'm going to say const. Oh, you know what? I need to refactor a little bit before I start this. Okay, so I actually want to take this box and I want to make it its own component. So I'm going to go to the tasks, and I'm going to create a task box.tsx. Right, I'm going to say const task box is equal to, then I'm going to say return, and then I'm going to go get this box here, and I'm going to paste it in. Then I'm going to import from Chakra UI, and I'm going to also import text. Okay, I'm going to add my export default task box, so that way I can then use it here. All right, we will need to pass in some props, so we're going to pass in task. Okay, and then we need to add it as a prop here. Task, and we're going to call this type props. So then we're going to have type props is equal to task, and let's see if we have a type task. We do, and it's already exported, so we can just do task. Perfect. All right, we need to import button, and we need to create our function for const toggle task status is going to be equal to, and then we're going to console.log here. Okay, so now we should be back up to date where we just were. Okay, I should be able to click this, and it's going to say here. Perfect. All right, but that's not exactly what we want to do. So we are going to say const status, set task status is going to be equal to use state task dot status. All right, and we are going to import from React. Okay, when we toggle the task status, we are going to set task status, and we are going to change it. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to add const status options. Well, let's just do it the easiest way first. So we're going to say if task status is equal to do, then we are going to set task status equal to in progress. Okay, else if task status is equal to in progress, we're going to set task status equal to done. Otherwise, we are going to set task status equal to do. Now, eventually, maybe I'll have a drop down here instead, okay? And then instead of showing task status, we are going to show the state task status, okay? So I should be able to click the button and it's gonna go through, okay? If I refresh the page though, it's going to show done because that's what it was originally. Now it goes to do, in progress, done, and we just go through the, okay? So this only changes it though on the front end. We need to change it on the back end, okay? We don't need to console log anything. So in addition to every time we click on the button, okay, we also want to send the task to the task status, the updated one, to the back end, okay? So I'm going to do a new function that says update task status. We're just going to do update task for now, and we're going to say field, and then we're going to say value, okay? So then we're going to console log the field, and we are going to console log the value. So we want to do everything slowly, step by step, to make sure that this works. So field is going to be equal to either status or name, okay? And then value is going to be a string, okay? So we first can do one thing here, right? So if we're toggling task status, then we want to do update task, and then we want to pass in status, and then we want to pass in task status. Okay, so let's give this a try. I'm a little bit concerned that the task status won't be updated quickly enough in order to send to the update task, but let's give it a try and see. Okay, so we are going to look at the console. All right, let's open up a task, and then we are going to toggle field status task done, but what we want it to be is task to do. Okay, and see how it's like always one behind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a helper function, okay? And I'm gonna call it const update task status. And we are going to pass in a status, which is going to be to do or in progress or Done. Okay. And then we are going to do set task status equal to status. Okay. And the reason why we can put this in here is because it's going to hopefully help us update the status quicker. So instead of set task status here, we're going to change this to update task state. Okay, and then I want this to be task status. So we're going to change that. Although I guess state kind of works too. Okay, so now let's give this a try. I'm gonna refresh my page and I'm gonna open up my console, clear my pesky errors, and then I'm gonna click. Okay, looks like it's still one behind. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and not do this, and instead I'm going to hard code. Set task status. Okay, so instead of doing that, I'm going to go ahead and just call this in each one, and I'm going to set it here. All right. Now, little hacky, so we can refactor later, but hopefully this gets the job done for now. Okay, so now let's try. So it's to do. Now it's in progress. Done, to do. Perfect. All right, so now in update task, what we want to do is we want to actually make an Axios request, okay, to the backend, okay. And I'm gonna go grab an Axios request. I don't want to console out the project here. And I want to grab one that has a token in it, so I can go ahead, so I'm gonna grab this one. All right, and copy it, and I'm going to paste it in here. Then I can just add it. Okay, so we want to, let's go look at our update task. Okay, and we want to send in our field and our value, okay, which are passed in here. Okay, we want to have an authorization token, which is going to be our token that we get out of local storage. Okay, and then we want to have our response. I think for now I'm gonna just kind of delete all of that, and I'm just going to console.log response. Okay, and I need to go ahead and make a toast. Const toast equals use toast, like that. So now my toast will work, and I don't want it to say your feature has been created. I want to say your task has been updated. All right, and we could even get kind of fancy, and we could change this to your task field. So that way it would say your task status has been updated or your task name. Okay. All right, so if we catch an unauthorized error, all right, your section is expired, please log in again. That makes sense. So now we need to import, do a navigate to. Const navigate is equal to use navigate. And otherwise, there's just going to be an error updating your task. Please try again. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now we need to go to the back end in order to create that route. So it's going to be guarded. All right. So I'm going to create it, put it right under create task, and I'm going to use that. Okay, so this is going to be update task. Okay, and then we are going to have update task DTO. I'm going to say update task DTO. And we are going to not worry about this right now. And we are going to console.log update task DTO. And ref.user.sub. All right, and we need to change the function name to update task. All right, so now let's go create our DTO. And we're just gonna copy this. Call this update task DTO. And it's going to have a field. I'm passing in the field, so we don't need to transform it. And then we are going to have a value. So wait, let's actually. Okay, and the value is what they are going to pass in. So we want to make sure it's sanitized. Well, it is if it's a name, otherwise it's me. So, but we'll sanitize it. All right. And now we have auth.update task. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click check. And I am going to head back to my task box and take a look. Okay, so if I click done, I see my field is status and my value is to do. And my response is nothing because I'm not sending anything back, which is perfectly acceptable for now. All right, so let's go back to our controller and then now we can keep on keeping on. Okay, so we need to go ahead and we want to return this .auth service.update task, and we are going to send in the field, which is going to be update task.dto.field, and then update task.dto.value, and then we are going to also send in the user ID, so rec.user.sub. Okay, now we need to add that to our service. So let's go ahead and do async update task. And we are passing in fields, which is going to be a string, value, which is going to be a string, and user ID, which is going to be a number. All right. So we want to make sure that we can access this task here. Okay. So in order to update it, okay? So we are going to be doing something very similar that we did here, okay? Now, because we are doing something very similar that we did here, okay, it makes sense that we would refactor and make this a helper function, okay? So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold off on the verifying that this is the user's task, and I'm just going to edit the task, okay? But we will go ahead and add in that extra layer of authentication in a separate video, okay? So we are going to say return await this dot, and then we want to use our tasks service dot, and then we're going to say update task, and we're going to send in the field and value. And the user ID. Okay, let's go then to our task service, and let's add our async update task. We're going to say field string value string user ID number. All right, So now that I'm getting here though, I'm realizing that I don't have the information I need. What I actually need here is the task ID, okay? Because that is what we are updating. So I'm going to assume that I have it and then edit in a second. So const task is going to be equal to await this dot task repository dot find one by ID. Okay. I think we need to add where. And I think we need to add an object around it where ID is equal to task ID. Okay, and then let's go ahead and console.log e task. All right, so now we're just going to get the task. We're not doing anything with updating it, but we need to make sure that we have our task ID, okay? So we need to, let's go up and look at this. And we want to add here task ID. We also will want to do user ID. I'm trying to think if I need to go through all of this. I'm going to try to just make sure that the user ID corresponds to the task ID and see if I can get there, okay? So then now we want to pass in the task ID. Okay, so we need to go ahead and go get the task ID and pass it in. So then let's do update task ID dot task ID. Let's go and edit our DTO. And we are gonna just copy one of these and we will say task ID. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and go back to the front end and make sure we can send our task ID with it, okay? So, sorry, I hate unused imports. Okay, so we are passing the task to the task box, okay? So what I want to do is I want to go find where I have this task defined, and I want to make sure I have ID number as part of it because we actually should have the ID. So let's console log the task here to make sure. Nope, and we don't want to do that in the update task. We just want to do it in the component. All right, so yep, we have our ID. Okay, so then we can go ahead and send task ID is equal to task.id. Okay, and I'm going to take my task away. All right, and so let's go ahead and click here, and we're going to click to do. All right, so we can see that our update task DTO that got sent in is we wanted to change the status, which is correct. We wanted to change it to in progress, which is correct, and we send that the task ID is 14 and the user ID is 41. We went and got the task ID 14 and we got the name and the status, okay? So let's go ahead and work on changing it now, okay? So the way that we would change it here is we would say, let's first say task to update. So then I would say task to update at field is going to be equal to value, okay? And then I'm going to say return await const updated task is equal to await this dot task repository dot save task to update. Let's try that. And then let's console log the updated task. All right, let's take a look. Okay, so I'm gonna start with it the way it is. So I'm gonna refresh. It was done, and now it's switched to do, okay? So let's go ahead and refresh my page, and you can see that this moved, okay? So let's go and look at it, and now it's to do, okay? If I switch this one as well, okay, and then I close it, and I refresh the page, you can see that this is 0 out of 2 done. So let's change this one and see what happens. Okay, so change that to do, and then I refresh the page, and now it went all the way back. Okay, so it's not updating though, right? And so like that is going to be what we will tackle in the next video. We will tackle making sure the user is allowed to update the task, and also making sure that it's updated on the front end. All right, I'll see you in the next one.